You walk into the kitchen and stop. You don't know why you're there. You knew 10 seconds ago. You were in the living room. You stood up. You walked here. Somewhere between one room and the next. The reason left. So you stand in your kitchen. You open a drawer. You look at the fridge. Nothing comes back. You give up. You walk out, and halfway to the couch, it lands. Scissors. Everyone does this, and everyone explains it the same way. I'm getting old. My memory's going. I'm not sleeping enough. All of that is wrong. What's actually happening has almost nothing to do with your memory. Look at who it happens to. Gabriel Radvansky studies memory at the University of Notre Dame. When he ran the first experiments on this, his subjects weren't old. They were college students, 19, 20 years old. Best memory they will ever have. They forgot just as much. And the numbers weren't small. Across the experiments, people were 2 to 3 times more likely to lose what they were holding in mind after walking through a doorway. Not a little worse. 2 to 3 times. The same thing shows up whether the person is tested in the morning or the evening, whether they're told to concentrate or not, whether the room is big or small, bright or dim. So it isn't age. It isn't sleep. It isn't how hard you were trying. It's the door. The experiments were built on one comparison. One group walks 15 feet across a room. The other group walks 15 feet and passes through a doorway on the way. Same distance, same time, same task, same thought to hold on to. The second group forgets more. That's the entire finding. And it should bother you, because a doorway is nothing. It's a gap in a wall. It has no weight. It carries no information. You don't touch it. You don't stop at it. Most of the time, you don't even look at it. And it takes the thought out of your head. The first version of the experiment was a video game. 2006, Radvansky and a colleague named David Copeland built a virtual house with 55 rooms. You walk in, there's a table. There's an object on it. You pick it up. The second you're carrying it, it disappears from the screen, so the only place it exists is your head. You carry it to the next table, put it down, take a new one. Every so often, the game stops and asks what you're carrying. People got it wrong, more often right after a doorway. Then came the obvious complaint. It's a screen. It's a game. It proves nothing about real rooms. So in 2011, they built it for real. Real rooms, real tables, real objects you could hold. And to stop anyone from looking down at what they were carrying, they made people carry everything inside shoeboxes. Same result, same size. The doorway won again, but the third experiment is the one that stays with me. They wanted to know whether the memory was destroyed or just put somewhere else. So they had people walk through a doorway, forget, then walk back into the room they'd started in. Going back didn't reliably bring it back. You already knew that. You've walked back to the living room hoping the room would tell you. Sometimes it works. A lot of the time it doesn't. So what does a doorway do? Your life feels like one continuous thing. You woke up. Things happened. You're here now. One long stretch, no cuts. Your brain doesn't keep it that way. It can't. One unbroken recording of everything would be useless. You'd never find anything in it again. So it cuts. You can see why it has to work this way. Ask yourself what you did this morning. You don't scroll back through a recording. A few pieces come back. Getting up, the kitchen, leaving the house. Your brain hands you chapters, not footage. Your brain takes what's happening and slices it into pieces. Researchers call those pieces event models. Chapters is close enough. Each chapter holds what matters right now. Where you are, what you're doing, what you're holding, what you meant to do next. And a chapter has to end somewhere. Something has to tell your brain that this part is finished and a new one starts here. A doorway does that. You cross it, your brain marks the end, closes the chapter, files it, and opens a clean one for the room you just entered. The filing moment is called an event boundary. The forgetting it causes is called the location updating effect. Now look at what your brain actually did. It didn't delete the scissors, it filed them. That thought is sitting in the previous chapter intact. You're standing in the current one. Nothing was lost. You're on the wrong page. That was the accepted explanation for about 10 years. Then two things happened to it. 2016, two researchers, Zachary Lawrence and Daniel Peterson, ran a simpler test. 51 students. They let them walk around a room first so they knew the layout. Then they showed them an image to memorize and asked them to close their eyes and imagine walking across that room. Half imagined a route that went through a doorway. Half imagined the same distance with no doorway. Nobody moved. Nobody went anywhere. The ones who imagined the doorway forgot about 18% more. So the door isn't doing anything. You don't have to walk through it. You don't even have to see it. The boundary happens in your head, and a real doorway is just an easy excuse for it. Then in 2021, it got complicated. Several labs tried to reproduce the effect in more realistic setups, better virtual reality, more immersive rooms, natural walking instead of button presses. The effect got weaker. In some of those studies, it disappeared entirely. A team at University College London looked at all of it together and put it plainly. It isn't just doorways. What kept showing up was this. The effect is strongest when your brain is already loaded, tired, distracted, holding 3 things at once. On a clear, focused day, you can walk through 50 doors and keep every reason. So the doorway isn't the cause. It's the last thing added to a brain that was already full. And there's one more piece from Radvansky's own lab, published this year. Event boundaries don't only take things away. Something learned right at the boundary itself is sometimes remembered better than something learned in the middle of a chapter. The cut isn't a wall. It's a filing point. And whatever sits closest to it can end up being the easiest thing to find. That's the part I keep thinking about. If the door isn't the cause, then what you catch in your kitchen isn't about doors at all. It's about chapters. And the chapters never stop. Your brain is cutting your day into episodes constantly. Ending one, starting another, filing what just happened, sitting down, standing up, finishing a phone call, opening a laptop, walking outside. Every one of those can be a boundary. You don't notice almost any of them. You're usually not carrying anything fragile across the cut. The doorway is the version with a witness. You happen to be holding one thin, unwritten thought at the exact moment a chapter closed, and you got to watch it go. Now think about what the alternative would actually be. A brain that never cut anything would hold your life perfectly. One continuous recording. Nothing filed, nothing lost, every second of it still there. It would also be useless to you. There would be no this morning, no last summer, no before I moved here. Just one unbroken line with no way into it. The cuts are what make your life findable, and they do something bigger than that. Every real division you have in your life is one of these boundaries. Before that job, after the move, when we were still in the old apartment, those aren't marks in time. Time doesn't have them. Your brain drew every single one, the same way it drew the line at your kitchen door. That's how a life stops being footage and turns into a story. So there's a price for that, and you already know what it is. Every so often, one small thought ends up on the wrong side of a cut, and you stand in your kitchen holding nothing. You lost the scissors. You kept the story.